Good afternoon, Minister Sarkaria. Minister, there was a crash on Highway 401 in which three of the innocent lives we lost. And those two people, those who were the suspect, Gagandeep Singh and Manpreet Gill, they were out on bail. And they were repeated offenders. Even the crime was that they were ordered not to be behind the wheels in the two of orders from the court. Still, they were behind the wheels and they took three innocent lives. Is the question of implementation of the laws that still they were driving and they took three lives? And also, the SIU is investigating the police role in that, why they were chasing on the wrong side. But what is the accountability of any government, federal or the provincial, when we say that criminals were out on bail, they were not obeying the court orders, and they were driving, they took three lives? If we investigate the police officer, why can't we investigate our policies? As you mentioned, that is not in the provincial matter, but when we talk to the federal counterparts, they say the federal government has done bail reforms, we have tightened that, even Deputy PM has said, so it's up to the provincial. So Canadians are into the loopholes, into the circles. Who can change the bail reforms? Who can keep these criminals behind the bars? Because this is a welcoming step from the province. At least something came up. But stunt driving and impaired driving penalties are good. But car theft penalties, these are the heinous crime. These are the organized gang crimes. So why can't we have tough penalties? And who is responsible for those crash if the criminals were out on the bail already?
Nathan, very good question. And what a sad story that we heard about three innocent lives taken, two people who had just come to the country a day before to visit their family, and a newborn baby that was taken away. So absolutely, I think, we all need to reflect on how we can ensure that something like that never happens. The federal government can say whatever they want. All they have to do is implement one change. If they legislate just one thing, one sentence that says a minimum mandatory sentence for anybody convicted of auto theft for a minimum of 5 years or a minimum of 10 years, this problem is over. And it says no bail for individuals convicted of or partaking in violent carjackings or violent incidences like this. They will be out. This problem will be solved. And it goes to my earlier point, Nathan, why do these same cars not get stolen in the United States to the extent that they get stolen in Canada? Because they're afraid of the law. They know they're going to spend 14 years in jail, 10 years in jail, if they try to steal a car from somebody or try to break into somebody's house, hold them at gunpoint, and steal a vehicle. The federal government has really failed on their duty to protect people and uphold public safety on our streets. When it comes to bail reform from a resource perspective, we've hired hundreds of new individuals to deal with the court system, whether it be police officers, whether it be specialized bail reform teams, bail teams to help give more lawyers on these cases, whether it be on auto theft or organized crime. The responsibility ultimately rests with the federal government to put into law that these people can't get out of jail. Once they do that, I'm telling you, this problem will be solved very quickly. So you've all seen the rise in car thefts. We have put forward in this piece of legislation that anybody convicted of car theft using an aggravated offense, aggravating factor to that offense, will have their license suspended for 10 years, 15 upon second conviction and third upon lifetime. Along with that, we are asking the federal government to tighten sentencing and bail reform, stronger bail reform on those who partake in auto thefts. The provincial government does not have the ability to increase the penalty for jail time on these criminals, but we will do whatever is within our scope, which is licenses, to take that away from people who commit these crimes. We also tackled impaired driving. We have seen a 30% increase in impaired driving over the last year with respect to reports or individuals pulled over or collisions. That is a very disturbing trend to have 30% increase. 1 in 3 roadway fatalities involved impaired driving. So upon your first offense of impaired driving, we are now going to force you to have a mandatory interlock device to blow into before you can get on the road. If you kill somebody while drinking and driving, you will never ever be allowed to drive on our roads ever again. If you are caught impaired driving, even for the first time, you will have to face you will face remedial training upon your first offense, mandatory training at CAMH, the Association for Mental Health, Canadian Association for Mental Health, before you are allowed to then get back on the road. Immediate roadside suspensions have now been increased to 7 and 14 days upon first and second offense. Along with that, those who are traveling on our roads at very high speeds, stunt driving, we had about 11,000 convictions of stunt driving and street racing on our roads last year. We are coming in with a 1-year penalty for anybody caught over suspension of license for anybody caught over 50 kilometers on the highway or 40 kilometers on a road posted at 80 kilometers speed limit. And that will be 1-year suspension upon first conviction, 3-year suspension of license upon second conviction of stunt driving or street racing, and upon third conviction, lifetime ban for those individuals. Along with this, from a commercial vehicle and safety perspective, we will launch 2 consultations. One consultation on strengthening commercial vehicle training and ask the industry to give us input, given the amount of fatalities and accidents happening on our roads with respect to those who are driving commercial vehicles. We will look to solutions, and we'll look to many of you to suggest any solutions that can be implemented to prevent more deaths and have stronger training methods for truck drivers. And lastly, on e-bikes, a lot of uncertainty around regulation with respect to e-bikes at the moment. So we will consult with industry on e-bikes and classifications potentially on how we can manage some of the both challenges and opportunities that come with it. So that is a very brief overview. Everything we are doing is within with respect to combating the dangers of dangerous driving on our roads and also impaired driving, with a focus also on ensuring those who are either drug impaired or impaired through alcohol are off our streets. And lastly, we will also launch a province-wide campaign to highlight the dangers of drug-impaired driving, with a focus on cannabis and a focus towards educating young people against those dangers.